So a lot of my conversations tend to revolve around the soul and our deeper essence, or whatever word you might want to give to that part of you that you know is like you, looking at the world from the inside out. That's very, very unique. And in a past life regression, we look at the soul on that timeline of eternity, which is infinite. And in this lifetime, it is my belief system that we have dropped into an incarnation. We've dropped into a life which we're experiencing, which is the perfect life for us to develop our soul in that timeline of eternity. And so if we think of our soul from the beginning of time, and that's that line running off into the distance, then lives are punctuate that timeline, although there is no time really. But if we imagine there is a line of time, then we drop into a life, and then we come out of that life, and then we drop into another life, and so on, all for the soul's development, our unique soul. And so sometimes when we look at what we're experiencing in this lifetime, there may be physical, emotional issues, there may be blocks around relationships, challenges that we meet, which we look at in this lifetime. And there's so many ways of looking at our experience and helping us to develop and helping us to find that peaceful place. So, you might have sessions with a counsellor, or you might talk through with somebody who's really knowledgeable about your life and where you've been. You might do different approaches. There are so many out there. And yet sometimes we come to a place of stuckness where we've looked at things from that angle and we've looked at things from that angle, and still there are issues that remain that we just can't get quite to the bottom of. And that's when I feel that you can look at previous lifetimes, and sometimes by looking there we can understand better who we are here today. And I think the best way to explain that, or a way of explaining that, is actually to share with you an experience of someone who I recently regressed, and with their permission they've allowed me to tell their story. It will be anonymous, but this person specifically set an intention for looking at a physical ailment or issue that they are working on and are continuing to work on, and looking at that physical issue as a possibility from coming from another lifetime as another layer of healing. And that's what we're offering by doing a regression, is looking at a layer of healing. Where can we heal? What part can we look at slightly differently? And so this person came with issues around the pelvic floor, around the bladder, around pain and difficulty in the pelvic floor. And as a young woman, she's never had a child, so to have pelvic floor issues so young is a little bit unusual. And so we went into the lifetime that we set an intention for, to better understand why these issues are presenting in this life. And we went into a very, very exceptionally beautiful, difficult, challenging lifetime that happened to her as a woman. I'm not sure of the era exactly that she went back to, but it was a previous time where she lost her mother very young, and then got married and had a pregnancy. The pregnancy did not meet term, but the baby was born, and it was a very traumatic birth. So there was a lot of loss and grief, as well as the physicality of that lifetime and giving birth, which was very, very traumatic. In that she could see blood, she could see the difficulty and the emotion around that birth. And then following that time, in that lifetime, she then was never able to conceive again. So there was a lifetime of loss, of never being able to have a child. And then in the regression, we also look at what happens beyond. So we go into transition, and when she was able to go into a place beyond death in that lifetime, and what happened. And in that place, she was able to be reconciled with the baby. She could see herself holding the baby that she lost, and also her mother. that she lost as a young woman, as a young girl, in fact. And so it was exceptionally beautiful and such a privilege for me to guide her through that and to guide anyone that I work with. And then following that, she came back and had a very, very heavy menstrual cycle. And therein is the healing, the physical healing of potentially another layer of that pelvic floor condition. And we're still working on that together to see how the past life regression helped to resolve potentially some of that pain that she's currently experiencing in this life. So that's a very brief sharing of a regression where we were led beautifully into a place that was very, very relevant for this time in her life. And so that's just a story to explain to you how deep we are. We are a physical body, and we think that this is it, maybe for some of us, but we are so much bigger. And if we look at ourselves in our world in this very expanded way, we know that we've lived before and we'll come back again. And it makes the life here now so much more precious, knowing that we're here really for a short time, even though with our difficulties and challenges, it can sometimes feel eternal. And that is the gift of being able to see ourselves from a different perspective and from a different lifetime, and be able to extract all that healing. And as a past life therapist, I really look at holding that space very carefully for anyone I'm working with, so that you get all the insights and all the healing and all the potential understanding that you can carry in from that time to this time, and really feel even more embodied in your life in the present moment and the present day. Thank you.